morning, everyone. This is Fighting Words with Kevin Shells. I'm Shells.
Kev, 8 Count Sports.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bringing the new year with a goodie this time. What's up, Kev? UFC 283. Coming straight from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Kev.
Nice. This is a full card.
It's a nice
seemingly
card.
every fight on the main card is solid. It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
Yeah,
the right way to start the new year.
And one side of the fight, one side is a Brazilian. No coincidence.
Right.
Let's get into it.
Speaking of which, we got a newcomer. We got a new challenger for the belt, Jamahal Hill.
Yeah, he gained his shot.
Winner of 3 straight. A
Gained
lot of knockouts. A lot of knockouts on that. A lot of knockouts on his resume. A chance to.
His last fight wasn't a knockout. It was against Thiago Santos. That didn't result in a knockout. No, that one was a TKO, 4th round. But the 2 fights before that, bro. The 2 fights before that,
if the referee got to step in and stop it, that means you was
you know what's the difference?
You know what's
the difference? Here's the difference. When you know the referee stopped it, when the opponent know the referee stopped it, that's a TKO. When the opponent is just waking up and he realizing they got stopped, that's a knockout. That's the difference. What he did to Johnny Walker and Jimmy Crute, which was the last 2 fights he had before Thiago Santos, those were knockouts.
Bruh.
First rounds in each one.
What's that? In a TKO, what's the last 2 letters at the end of the TKO? What's the last 2 letters?
Yeah, but that T is the asterisk. That T is the asterisk.
That's not an asterisk. It's a win and it's a
technical knockout.
It's
a technical knockout.
Listen, bro. Well,
they made it technical. It's technically a knockout.
So now I gotta get
not out, but technically it's a knockout.
A bunch of stoppages then.
Hey, fair enough. I need that.
Keys of victory. I mean, I know you was feeling bad about the guys that we predicted to lose, so you wanted to touch up on what their keys of victory would be. I'm gonna let you go first and tell me what you think of the fight and the keys of victory, visuals before you get into your prediction.
Well, let me let the people know what we're talking about. So basically, you know how we always when we do our predictions, we always predict who we think is gonna win, how they're gonna win, and what round they're gonna do it. We still want to keep that, but this time we want to also shine some light on how we think the opposing fighter could overcome that obstacle. Because at the end of the day, this is MMA, anything can happen. So we gotta acknowledge that.
We shall.
Fair enough. We shall overcome, hopefully. So let's start with the first fight. We got our boy Glover Teixeira versus my man Jamahal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight belt. Let's say it like this. I do believe Glover Teixeira is gonna take it. Let's put it out there. Yeah. His ground game is
favorite, right?
He's the favorite, definitely, and for good reason. His ground game, immaculate. And even if for whatever reason you keep him on his feet, he's gonna go toe to toe with you, as seen in his fight against Jerry Prochazka. Even before that, his fight against Thiago Santos. That in 4 rounds. It was a 4-round 3-round TKO, but he was going toe to toe with Santos. He barely was on the ground with him. Another reason why I think he's gonna win is because of who he's fighting in Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill had a common opponent with him in Thiago Santos, but it took him 4 rounds to defeat him, as opposed to Glover's 3. And after the 3 rounds, it was Thiago who was on the floor after fighting Glover. After the 4 rounds with Hill, the both of them were tired. Glover's cardio is crazy. It's crazy, and I think that's going to be a very significant factor in their bout.
Okay.
So I see him taking the fight, and I see him taking the victory in 3 rounds via TKO.
3 rounds TKO.
Great, through his ground game.
All right. So how do you feel? How can is there any way Jamahal Hill does he have any chance? What's his advantage?
There's also a chance. There's also weight. However minuscule it is. But I would say about Hill, yeah, it's the truth. But what I say about Hill is he has a crazy right hand. That right hand will let you go night. I call the NyQuil hand because
Quill.
like I said, we did to Johnny Walker and Jimmy Crute, which was the last two fights he had before Santos, first round knockouts, both of them.
Yeah.
The only thing about that though is these fighters, Johnny Walker's ranked number 12 and Jimmy's ranked number 14. So these are basically, they're not even ranked top 10. Like I said, I think what Hill has to do is he has to really lean on that right hand. He has to avoid getting taken out to the ground. So in order to do that, he has to use his reach advantage. He has a 79-inch reach advantage to Glover's 76. So that 3 inches he need to use that 3 inches, keep the distance, and keep using that right hand to crack him. That's how I see him overcoming the obstacle that is Glover Teixeira.
11 3 rounds. You heard it.
3 rounds, bro.
I ain't mad at that. This fight, I was going back and forth about it.
Okay.
There's some things that keys of victory. There's some things that Jamal Hill presents. There's some advantages that he has that I don't think Glover Teixeira is going up against. At least not. First thing is the height advantage. He's 6'4". Next thing is the reach, 3-inch reach advantage.
The height? How tall is Prochazka?
It don't got nothing to do with that. It's wait. Let me go. Yeah, Prochazka, and he lost to Prochazka. If you want to be,
you're right. No, you're absolutely right, and that's why I brought up. I was just gonna bring up.
He lost to John Jones, and he lost to quite a few people that's taller than him.
But he did beat. Was Bohovich taller than him?
Bohovich, maybe
the one he beat for the actual belt.
Not by much.
How much taller is Hill than
He's 6'4".
And how tall is Glover?
Glover, what, 6'2"?
That's 2 inches.
Yeah, 2 inches.
The same 2 inches you said.
2 inches, yeah, but let me keep going. Hold on. He has the reach advantage, 3 inches, 2-inch height advantage. Now we go into the real stuff. He's a southpaw. He may hit you with the right hand, but the right hand's coming from a different position. It's coming up from a closer position because he's fighting southpaw, which is his jab hand. So he's hitting him. That brings his reach even closer to Teixeira. So that's things that you got to look at. Teixeira has not. The last southpaw he fought was about more than 7 fights ago, and that person wasn't dangerous with his hands like that. So these are things you got to look at. So basically, Hill is presenting things that Glover Teixeira hasn't seen in a while. The next advantage that Hill has as well is he's coming off a loss, and he's a lot older. Like, we talked about Teixeira's age. When you deal with guys that get older, fighters that get older, you don't really know when the chair is going to fly from under them. You don't really know when that's going to happen. It's like a ticking time bomb.
Right.
Sometimes it's gradual. Sometimes a guy looks old overnight and based on opponents and things like that.
But we have to give the benefit out to Glover, though.
You don't know that.
We have to give them benefit.
You don't know that.
I'll give you this. Watch this. I'll tell you this. You know who's helping Hill for this fight?
Who?
Anthony Smith.
Okay.
You remember what Glover did to Anthony Smith?
This
5 rounds
bro.
of ragdolling.
Smith not hitting like Hill, bro. I'm telling you right now, he's not the same type of fighter as Hill, bro.
I think he has a better skill set than Hill.
Anthony Smith is not relevant right now. I don't care what his skill set is. Is he fighting for the title right now?
I'm bringing him up because you said that you threw in the age factor as a strike against Glover. What I'm saying is that in his case, he's a special case. I don't think that's a factor in him. And the reason because he's making these young dudes, he's making these young dudes look like they're the old ones.
Really? I didn't see that in the last fight.
Against Prochazka?
Yeah.
That fight, he gave Prochazka the most trouble in his UFC career.
Out of who? Who Prochazka fought?
Besides that, they were all younger than him. They were all younger than Glover.
It don't matter. He got stopped his last fight, right?
After 5 rounds?
It don't matter. He got stopped his last fight, right? When's the last time he got stopped prior to that?
Who, Glover?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
That makes my point stronger.
Last fight. It's the last thing that happened.
It's the last thing that
happened, bro. You don't know how good Anthony Smith Jamal Hill is. You tell him because he's sparring with what that mean?
I don't know how good he is. I just told you the three
dudes who he fought. How good Jamal Hill is. This is his chance. He done knocked out his last 3-4 opponents. Straight up.
He didn't knock out he didn't knock out Santos.
That was he stopped him, bro. He done stopped his last. He stopped him. He stopped him. He stopped him. So if the referee ain't stopped it, it's gonna be over anyway. So I'm saying, so that's dominance. He's knocking dudes out.
But if you compare one hit or quitter,
I'm in trouble and referee gotta jump in. Come on.
If you compare the dudes who Hill has fought with the dudes who Glover has fought, it's two completely different resumes.
Ain't that different lineups. Yeah, but that don't eliminate who's fighting. No, because we've seen this with Islam and Oliveira. We've seen this, and we've seen it again, and we've seen it again with Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. We've seen a dude in Leon Edwards win 9 straight fights with pretty much not fighting anybody in the top 10, and he turned around and knocked out Kamaru Usman. We've seen who was the first Oliveira and what's his name and Islam. Who in the top 5 Islam fought?
I'll tell you. Okay,
he went in there and dominated Oliveira, who done smoked the top 5.
Let me say this.
So when we talking about this,
can I rebuttal?
You have a person, huh?
May I rebuttal?
You done? I just finished you. What are you talking about?
Let me rebuttal. Let's go to Islam. Islam was under the mentorship of Habib. The only reason that he was given the fights he was given was because no one else was wanting to fight him.
That's not you can't prove that.
I can't prove that.
Nah, you can't prove that.
So hold on. So what was the reason that he didn't get the top?
I don't know why.
Cause you're making it sound like he was having, but he had no issue with these people.
Who's saying that nobody wanted to fight him? Where's that coming from?
First of all, who was his last fight before Oliveira?
The dude that failed the steroid test, the black dude.
My man Green, Bobby Green.
Okay.
Bobby Green. All right, the guy before him.
I don't remember. It wasn't nobody in the top 10. But
he dominated these dudes. So Hill was having trouble with Santos, bro.
He stopped Santos.
So did Glover, faster.
That don't, just because a dude beat a dude fast, styles make fights. That don't, just because I beat you a certain way and then you
Hill was gassed.
It's the head to head.
And Hill was gassed, bro.
Bro, it don't matter.
How it don't matter? That same Carter that he was lacking against Santos is gonna be the same Carter he's gonna go against Glover.
Different fighter, bro. You can't say just because one guy beat one guy one way and another. That's you going in a circle because they got to fight each other now. That don't mean
that
doesn't prove anything. That styles make fights. Didn't we talk about this with Aljamain Sterling?
But let me say one thing.
We talk about that same thing.
That style makes fights, right?
Yeah.
But gas tanks gets exposed.
Not if you got the equalizer, bro. He might not need a gas tank.
He couldn't. That equalizer, the equalizer couldn't help him against Santos.
He stopped Santos. What are you talking about?
But he did. But it wasn't a knockout with his right hand.
He stopped him.
He stopped him through TKO.
He stopped him. It don't matter.
It wasn't a knockout.
So what was the sequence of events that happened? That got Santos stopped.
He got him on the ground. And he was beating on him.
Mm-hmm.
Santos was after a while. Santos was no longer defending himself. So the referee
he wasn't no longer defending himself.
He no longer defending himself.
So he beat him to the point where he wasn't defending. So what was gonna happen next? What was gonna happen next?
He's gonna get knocked out eventually.
Okay. So
but he didn't get the one hitter quitter you're talking about though. It wasn't the one hitter quitter.
Bro, if two people fighting and somebody drugs somebody and they hit the floor, bro, what are we talking about? And he can't defend himself. So what are we talking about?
Glover did the same thing. But I'll tell you why. Both of them were gassed. When Glover defeated Santos in 3 rounds, Glover was fresh. Santos was tired. And I brought up Anthony Smith.
2 different fighters, bro. 2 different fighters. Question.
Yeah.
What happened? Did Hill land anything on Santos earlier in that fight?
To knock him out?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, where I'm getting to is we may not have to go that far if Hill lands on him earlier. I'm telling you that he's presenting different issues. First of all, stylistically, he has reach. He's fighting a southpaw stance, and he's cracking people with his right hand. Meaning, in a jab, his right hand is going to be closer to Glover. Glover has not fought a southpaw. These things matter, bro. That means his power is coming from a different angle.
But here's the
like
thing.
That matter, bro.
But here's the thing, though.
I'm telling you,
it matters. But this is what I'm trying to say to you. You're talking about the reach advantage that Hill has over Glover. He also had that reach advantage. He also had that reach advantage over Santos.
Did he?
Didn't knock him out.
Santos is a big dude.
I'm
not so sure about that.
He knocked out Johnny Walker. And I'm pretty sure Johnny Walker's reach. I'm pretty sure
different.
No, but you're using.
Nah, bro. We talking about different calibers of fighters now. Johnny Walker is coming off
exactly.
He done knocked out a few times already.
No, you're right. Different caliber of fighters. That is my point.
I'm telling you. But what I'm telling you, I'm giving you keys of victory for Hill. I'm saying he gonna win. I'm telling you, I'm giving you keys of victory, and I think he's a live dog in this fight anyway. On top of that, first of all, like I said, I'm saying this for the third time now, because it means something. He's a southpaw. Teixeira has not fought a southpaw in several fights, and the last time he did fight a southpaw, it wasn't a dude that can crack. I'm giving you all facts. First of all. Second of all, Jamal Hill's knocking people out with his right hand. Anybody that knows boxing, which is going to be a lead hand if he's fighting from the southpaw stance, which gives him an easier reach advantage to touch Glover. That's another thing. That's another thing on top of that, bro. That all of this count. And another thing is that he's hot right now. He's confident. He's coming off of a 3-fight win streak where he's stopped his last 3 opponents. That's confidence going into this fight.
Hill is confident. Glover is experienced.
Is coming. Huh?
Hill is confident. Glover Teixeira is experienced.
But what is he experienced fighting somebody like Jamal Hill?
I
just told you he ain't fight a southpaw that could crack. That hasn't happened.
He's fought fighters at a way higher caliber than Jamal Hill.
He has not fought anybody that resembles Jamal Hill. Physically and stylistically, it has not happened. You could go
Anthony Smith.
No, just because he's training with Anthony. First of all, Anthony Smith is not left-handed.
No, but I'm saying.
Second of all, Anthony Smith cannot crack like Jamal Hill. Not even close. They don't have to. Anthony Smith is not. No, is not the same fighter. Anthony Smith is a dude that is a little good at everything. He's solid at everything. Jamal Hill has a specialty.
Yeah, that right hand.
He has a special ability.
But that right hand
and
only affects dudes
he's fighting
at a certain level.
Stance. For you just now saying that he's knocking people out with his right hand, and I'm telling you, he's fighting in a southpaw stance. That's dangerous. Because you don't know what punch is going to crack.
I'm not taking it away. I'm not taking nothing away from.
Like, I'm not taking what you talking about right now. You talking about a bunch of fighters, and none of these fighters resemble Jamal Hill. That Teixeira's fought. None of them.
But the fights I bring up are of a higher caliber than the fight that Jamal Hill has fought.
I get that. That's a great point for Teixeira. I'm not talking about Teixeira right now. You kicking me back. You want to do keys of victory. I never said Jamal Hill was going to win the fight. I'm not even up to that yet. I'm giving you keys of victory for Jamal Hill, and all of my keys is accurate right now. All of those things that I mentioned, Glover Teixeira has not gone up against. Just throwing it out there. Hasn't gone up against any of them. Last time he fought dudes that was taller than him like that, he had issues. I'm not saying Jamal Hill obviously not taller as John Jones, but he's going to be able to reach.
No. Say it again. The last time Jamal Hill had who had issues with tall.
I said Glover Teixeira hasn't always done well against taller dudes. I'm telling you. Look it up. I'm not
about his last few fights.
50. All right. He lost his last fight. You want to get
his last fight, but his fight before that he won, and that dude was taller than him too. Young was taller than him too.
Not by much.
Pasca's not taller than him by much either. And matter of fact, let's take Pasca out of it. Hill is not much taller than
2 inches.
Than the same 2 inches that Jan was.
He ain't Jan.
Yeah, he don't got the Polish power.
He got some kind of power.
Yeah, he do.
He got some kind of power.
Enough, though.
He knocking people dead. I know that.
Yeah,
so he got some kind of power.
Dude's in our top 10.
Sleeping him. I don't care what nobody say. He's sleeping him, and he's on.
Definitely is.
You can't say just. I gave my 2 examples of Leon Edwards and guys that have not fought didn't fight in the top 10 and won a belt. Was streaking, was hot, and won a belt right under the radar. Well, not under the radar for Islam, but for Leon Edwards, yeah. These people have abilities. When you in the UFC and you could put together a 3 to 5 fight win streak, you could problem. You are a problem, bro. I don't care how you cut it. This is the creme of the creme. Later on, we're gonna talk about Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is pretty good, right? You realize he lost 2 of his last 3 fights?
Definitely.
Okay,
but we'll get to it. I'm on the one to get it.
It's hard to string together wins in the UFC. Dude is nice. These are the creme of the creme, and he got 3 all by knockout. They see him come. You think it ain't no scouting report? You don't think it's a scouting report on Jamal Hill?
Say that again?
You don't think it's a scouting report on Jamal Hill before a dude fight him knowing that he got power coming out his right hand, he fighting in the southpaw stance?
I'm saying he got power in his right hand. Okay. I'm saying if he beats...
And you see how difficult it is. You see how hard it is to stop it, right?
I'm saying if he beats it with the right hand.
Not a pushover, bro.
I'm not saying
these dudes have been in the ring with John Jones and the rest of them. For him to score a knockout like that, and you
knockout on who? Don't tell me don't stop saying he knocked out.
He knocked him out, bro. If you get beat to the point you can't.
It was a stoppage. It was a knockout.
Look, bro. Let's just leave that because we're gonna agree to disagree. In my opinion, if you getting a beat to the point where you can't defend yourself, you knocked out. I don't care. You could put a T, a K, or R on whatever you want to put on that. You done. If you can't defend yourself, you done. If we out here in the street and somebody beating you and ain't no ref there, you done.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference between covering yourself up and being unconscious. That's my opinion.
He knocked him out. He stopped him. Same thing.
Listeners out here, put in the comments. What do you think? Is a TKO the same as a knockout? What do you guys think? Let's continue this debate.
Anyway, but back to the keys of victory. I like that for Jamal Hill. He's bringing something to the table that if you look at Glover's resume, it's not there. He's a different kind of fighter. Your point of them fighting different calibers goes into my point for Teixeira. Now I'm going to go over to the keys of victory for Teixeira. You know what I'm saying? First of all, his opponent's level, the caliber of opponents are a lot higher. On top of, matter of fact, I'm sorry, I got to double backwards because in the middle of all of that, there was one more key to victory for Hill, and that's age. I don't care what nobody say. If Father Time is undefeated, we don't know when he's going to show up. He undefeated. I don't care what nobody say. You know, a lot of fighters, they look good until they don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't know when that chair is going to pull. He done lost his last fight. How's he going to react after this loss? It's been a while since Teixeira lost a fight. You know what I'm saying? He had the belt. Is he still going to be hungry to get the belt back? These are questions that's going to get answered on that night. On the flip side of it, for Teixeira, the same experience that we talked about works in his favor. On top of the experience, the reason why I do think for this fight I have Teixeira, and it was hard, but the last thing that I looked at, and it doesn't have to do with opponent as far as caliber opponent. It more has to do with stylistically opponents. The first time I seen Jamal Hill fight, we covered it was some event that we covered, and Jamal Hill fought a guy named Paul Craig, and this is his last loss. It's the first time I've ever seen Jamal Hill fight. A lot of trash talks. I was interested in seeing this fight, and in the first round, they hit the floor, and when that happened, Jamal Hill looked like a fish out of water, and he got his arm broke, dangling broke. And when I went back and looked at his resume, the type of fighters that he's been fighting are all strikers. Thiago Santos is a striker.
I know what you're talking about. I think it was
Paul Craig, bro. Thiago Santos is a striker. Obviously, Johnny Walker is a striker. OSP is a striker. These guys are strikers. These aren't ground guys. So Glover Teixeira is a ground guy. He's been buzzed before. We've seen that in his last fight. He was able to get through it. So he can take a good shot. I don't like to really point to a guy's chin and say, oh, just because his chin held up, because there's different levels of power. And like I said, I wonder if Teixeira, because Hill is a southpaw, and he's fighting from the southpaw stance. If there's going to be a punch that goes that Hill is able to land that Teixeira doesn't necessarily see, because sometimes what helps with somebody's chin is seeing a punch and kind of bracing for it. Will the different stance, will that be an issue? I want to see how that's going to play out. But I like Teixeira because, as you said before, he's proven. I think we both know that he's been able to prove he's been able to be durable. He's fought almost every type of fighter, if not any kind of fighter. I think there's a bigger chance that this match will hit the floor. I think there's a greater chance of this match hitting the floor before Hill landing. If I had to take a choice, Hill landing a knockout punch or this fight hitting the floor, I think the fight would hit the floor. It's more likely to hit the floor. And when that happens, I don't know if Hill's going to be able to really, handle himself there based on what I've seen previously. So Hill hasn't really fought a guy that can really take him down like that since. He's looked good against strikers, but he's going to get took down likely. So
to Hill's point, though,
I'll go with Teixeira. Second round.
Second round?
Okay. Yeah, I think I just, based on what I've seen in that fight, Glover ain't gonna let him up.
Now let's go into the second bout. The second championship bout of the night. This time is for the flyweight belt.
Rubber match.
The rubber match. Listen, this might be fight of the night. This might be fight of the night.
Could be.
Figueiredo versus Moreno 4. This is number 4.
Wow.
Yeah, they've only fought 4 times. And you take this one, Kelly. I'll let you go first with this one, bro.
This one, see, I didn't have as much as an issue as far as this fight. I kind of know where I want to go with this and who I think is going to win. Keys of victory. Obviously, this is first fight was a draw. Second fight, Moreno steamrolled Figueiredo, which was a surprise because going into that fight, Figueiredo was looked at. He gave off the perception that he was going to be a long-lasting champion based on his skill set. He was fighting repeatedly. Like, I think he had the quickest turnaround as far as back-to-back fights. He was active. He looked really good. He has the ability on his feet and on the ground. Very technically sound. Has a lot of tools in his toolbox. He took over after Henry Cejudo vacated the belts and went into retirement. He's looked really good. I think his training with Henry Cejudo helped him in the third fight between the two. Keys to victory for Figueiredo is, to me, his keys to victory is to play keep away. I think he has to play keep away and be selective in not fully engaging with Moreno. Moreno is first Mexican flyweight champion, and he is Mexican.
I think he's the first Mexican champion in the UFC.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
first Mexican-born UFC champion. Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody that knows, especially if you follow boxing, the Mexicans, they bring it. There's no backward step. They bring it, and the second fight he steamrolled Figueiredo. So Figueiredo has to be technically sound. He has to pick his spots to be successful, and that's his advantages towards winning. I'm gonna go into it and just say this: I think Moreno's gonna win this fight. He's been more active. Figueiredo, last time he fought was Moreno, which was a year ago, last January. The next thing is, usually there was a lot of controversy in the third fight. It went nip and tuck a lot. There were people that felt Moreno won that fight. The second fight is the key fight for me. I think as a champion, when you get steamrolled and dominated like that, it was almost like as if, I don't want to say, like as if Figueiredo conceded a little bit in that second fight. Shout out to him for coming back in the third fight, but I felt like Figueiredo had to go outside of himself to win the fight, meaning fighting an uncomfortable fight to kind of win that. And I think this time around Moreno is going to take him. His last win against Kai France was still in victory from the jaws of defeat. It was a nip and tuck fight, and he ended it just like that. You see him, he's growing.
Yeah. Before
our eyes. Like he's growing, and he's already was on Deiveson Figueiredo's level already. I think he may be surpassing that right now. So I like I like Moreno. I think he'll stop Figueiredo in probably the back end of the third round.
Wow. Ooh, you're not even giving Figueiredo to the championship rounds.
He might get there, but it's going to take a lot. You know, he made an adjustment in the third fight. So now Moreno's coming into this fight seeing that adjustment. So I talk about, like, I was talking about Valentina Shevchenko in our last when we did the pound for pound. I said I think she's the most skilled women fighter because she's able to make adjustments on the fly. Whereas Nunez and Pena, you saw they made adjustments after a loss. Like, not in the middle of mid-fight. You took a loss, had a whole training camp adjustment.
Went back to the drawing board.
Yeah, so now Figueiredo had that. So now it's a clean slate. You know what I'm saying? Moreno, he was in the fight. I'm pretty sure they watched tape of how that fight went. So they're pretty gamed on what Figueiredo brought to that last fight. It's a clean slate. You know what I'm saying? And I think the better fighter is going to win. And Moreno, to me, is proven to be that.
Okay. Wow. I mean, the only thing that shocked me with your answer is the fact that you think Moreno is going to finish Figueiredo in 3 rounds.
Did you see the second fight?
I saw the second fight, but here's the thing that surprised me the most. Because when I look back on these fights, I came to a surprising revelation. I believe. Well, let me put this out there. I think this rivalry between Figueiredo and Moreno is similar to the rivalry between Usman and Covington, meaning that these two dudes are way ahead of the rest of the division. But I just feel that Figueiredo was gonna get it. He's just one step ahead of Moreno, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. First of all, Figueiredo, he doesn't throw as much punches as Moreno, but they're more precise. He's a more precise striker.
Okay.
And those strikes come with bad intentions. He also has heavy leg kicks in his arsenal, which could work against Moreno's style of, like you said, getting in your face and hitting you with those volume punches. The only reason, when I look back at those fights, the only reason Figueiredo won that first fight, barely.
First fight, yeah. Well, barely. It was a draw, right?
But here's the thing: why was it a draw? Because of the point deduction.
Okay.
Figueiredo got a point deduction for that low belt kick, for that low, a heavy low kick. Again, heavy kicks. The second fight, you're right. Moreno was railroading him, but I believe he had a bad weight cut that fight. If you look at his frame in that second fight as opposed to the first fight and the third fight, Figueiredo looked way less healthy in that second fight.
Okay.
Which is why he looked off in that fight. That third fight, that's what I was seeing.
It's possible.
In the third fight, that's when you saw the real Figueiredo. That's when, to me, that was the most. That was, out of all those 3 fights, it was the most telling, because I feel both of them were at their best, and Figueiredo still came out on top. And I believe he won that one based on the damage he did to Moreno.
Okay.
Despite Moreno's volume punches. Despite Moreno's ability, in all 3 fights, Moreno has a crazy ability of getting Figueiredo on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, Figueiredo had no defense against his takedown. But in fights 1 and 3, Figueiredo was always able to get back up right away.
Right.
There was hardly any control time on Moreno's part, and he didn't commit any damage in those 2 fights. He was able to do so in the second fight, but again, I feel it's because of that bad weight cut.
Okay.
And because he was off his game. That was the only fight out of those 3 fights that Moreno was actually... Matter of fact, that's how he won. He had him on the ground, and it was a submission.
Yeah.
How you go from, in the first fight, you're not able to keep him on the ground for more than a second, to the second fight, you're able to choke him out in the second round, and in the third fight, it goes back to what happened in the first fight, which is like, I'm able to get you on the ground, but I'm not doing nothing to you once I get you on the ground. We go right back up. This is what and like I said, the only difference I seen between that second fight and the other 2 was the way that Figueiredo looked.
Okay.
That weight cut. I believe it's gonna be another fight. I believe it's gonna be the fight tonight. Cause like I said, the reason why I used the Usman Covington comparison because those two guys are way ahead of the division.
Right,
but
right,
when
yeah.
you put them in, but when you put them in that classroom, that one guy just gonna have that always that one up against the other one.
Right,
Usman always gonna have that one up against Covington, and I feel Figueiredo's always gonna have that one up against Moreno. It's gonna be a 5-rounder. I believe it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be like what you like to say, a barn burner.
Barn burner, yeah.
It's gonna be one of those, but I think Figueiredo's gonna come out on top. What I feel Moreno needs to do, if he's gonna win, he needs to lean more into his strengths, which is that takedown game. If he's able to utilize that takedown game more efficiently and keep him on the ground and deliver damage, I believe that he'll be able to win the fight, especially being backed by the volume punches. If he keeps the volume punches and level changes and keeps that combination going, he could take the fight. It's still gonna be a 5-rounder, but that's the only way I see Moreno taking the fight. He needs to keep up those volume punches, and which was gonna keep Figueiredo distracted. He does so and deliver that damage. That's what he needs to do. But he needs to get past those power punches that Moreno is coming with, that Figueiredo is coming with. Figueiredo leans more into his leg kicks. It's gonna be a real problem for Moreno, because those leg kicks is gonna stop Figueiredo. Once you stop those legs, it don't matter how much volume punches, he's gonna be punching from one spot. He's not able to move. And he's gonna get picked apart. So in order for Moreno to stop this, like I said, he needs to hit him with those volume punches, level change, keep him on the ground, and commit to doing damage. But outside of that, 5-round decision, Figueiredo.